in the Tidal Power Toolkit 2011, I believe, in risk mitigation paper, right? Risk mitigation to the machine, not to the environment. Risk the machine section. You should put a Gemini on your machine so you can see ice blocks with debris and large invertebrates. That was not intended for fish. Tidal Institute recommendation, because the first one blew up. Marine life will avoid. Well, if they avoid, how far do they avoid? Did you ever ask that question? They avoid it with Big Moon too. They didn't even come in. Did that affect their life cycle? Possibly. That was our first run. It's a very short run, 10, 12-day run. The big herring, the big boys, right? Then we get the smaller herring later. I never got a single one. Jerry got a whole bunch. So they started, stopped. They parked for tide. Fish come back in. They started again, stopped. Goes on. When they left, fish come back 2 days gone. It disrupted their whole life cycle, in my opinion. But nobody tested that, and we called. We asked, we begged. Nobody. That we know of yet. No incidents of collision recorded. Well, if you've been listening, they're not looking, so we're not going to have any recorded instances on this machine either. If you can't see the blades and see the fish hitting, we're not recording nothing either. So we're going to have the same thing on this site. No instances of recorded collisions with the machine either. Do you understand that? If you're not looking, you ain't going to see them. The key word to that statement is record it. Ink on paper. Do you understand? Next, turbines can be, turbines can be removed. No doubt in my mind. The judge said they can be removed in 12 hours. Well, we can't wait for that one to happen in the court case. That's not going to happen, right? Well, we've seen what happened. People said, well, just turn it off. When the fish kills were happening, I'm not saying it's doing it, but settle the people down. Turn it off, right? If the fish kills continues, you're golden. If it stops, shit. You know, but, oops, sorry, once again. Uh-oh. Green energy, extended coal, oh my God. They said we're going to put this turbine in for how long? Because we got to stop coal burning. 2 weeks later in the news, we extend coal burning 10 years. Well, I love that one. That one really got me, right? Oh, I couldn't believe it. Green energy. So anyways, monitoring fast platforms. Well, when they say we're monitoring, we're putting all this money in, you've got to actually ask what that is. Those fast platforms are designed to test technology, which was the purpose of the foresight. That was one of the visions of the foresight, was to be a leader in technology testing, right? But does that mean it's monitoring what you think of monitoring as? No. Zero effects. I've got to explain that one. Not for export. They continuously say that. What they mean is the power purchase agreements say the first people for 15 years can't sell that power outside of Nova Scotia. They don't mean the third machine, if they get granted, can do that. The first ones, they say, can't do that. So that's what they mean, not for export. Their power purchase agreement, the power is supposed to stay here. You actually have to understand what they're saying. Now, I don't know how they divide power in lines, but I'm sure there's people that can do that, I think. Is there? Okay, check it. Next, fishermen don't know, we do. This is what lit our candle. We don't like that. Tidal power antagonists, we don't like that. It's a pity this information has not been made available. We don't like that. Being called depressed manic, don't like that. I didn't like that at all. So, no, we're supposed to work together in the end. That's the whole goal, right? So, bottom line is this one. Information has not been made available. Well, I have numerous things where I've asked to bring the entire fishery into this, document it, in minutes of meetings and everything else in emails. And where I was turned down to bring the rest of the fisheries in, besides the guy sitting there with the lobster, and myself and Wayne for a very short period. So that's an untrue statement. Next. It only takes a few seconds to make a ridiculous, inaccurate, ridiculous statement, explaining why a statement is untrue. Very true statement. I'm having the same problem. Right? Next. Nova Scotia Minister of Environments. Oh my God. This was the turning point for many of the people sitting in this room for fishermen. I already knew, but Willie didn't. You didn't. We sat in a meeting with the Minister of Environment, and I owe her an apology, actually. Actually, when we got to that meeting, we were so mad that we lashed out. And I was like, now I feel like I need to apologize to her, and I am going to call her if she'll answer me, and I'm going to apologize. Because she was the only one that told us the truth. She actually told us the truth, and we weren't ready for it. She looked at us. I said, Margaret, I said, you were a farmer. I said, so I know you understand where we're coming from to some extent. I said, our weirs are complex, our livelihoods are complex. We just can't rebuild if we end. Like, we just can't start like that. It doesn't work that way. We have infrastructure too. What am I going to do if my daughter leaves? She's my right hand. My sons, what happens, you know? We just can't restart. And she looked across as honest as a bird, thinking she was in caucus. Well, kind of. But she was honest anyways. Resources evolve, she said to us. You were there. Resources evolve. Well, who gave them permission for that evolution? Was a fisherman included? Was Mi'kmaq? Before anybody says yes to that, it's still coming, right? She said once there was 3,000 farms, now there's only 300. And that was her example to us of how our lives are going to go. And you know what? We lashed out at her, and we owe her an apology because she was honest. Sturgeon, do we make money off them? It's another thing she said. Oh, we sat there like, how can you be saying this to us? But if you understand now, they're talking about the environment up here, and we're talking about the marine environment. That's what nobody gets. Yes, this environment is super important, but this environment was super important and is super important too. Right? But every time they say in protecting the environment, they're talking about air. Next. Transformation, this is where we transform. This is the day the fishermen knew. Right? Knew for sure. Transformation of the resource from life to corporate colonization to the machine. Through corporate colonization to the machine. Because that is what it is. It's corporate colonization of the marine resource. Period. It's a bulldozer coming through. Next. Two different managements. Well, two different. That's my slide person. Anyways. Fisheries. Seasons, quotas, licenses, already did that, and tidal power. Where's the rules? Where's their black box? Where's their dockside monitor? Where's their DFO officer that's going to check under the water? Huh? Where's their enforcement? Oh, they get to enforce themselves. Interesting. We'll see how that's going. No effects. Yeah. Zero. As soon as they flick the switch, boom, the power switch, 22nd of November. No effects, wham! He's like, ting. Next. The machines. This is what they're putting in the water. These ones go on the bottom, these ones are mid, and those ones are 3.4 meters below the surface. They're covering it. You know, these ones are going faster blades, slower blades. Doesn't mean it's not have effects though, we just don't know yet. And we won't know until we get a proper monitoring plan. Next. We can't forget about this one. That was the size of Confederation Bridge. They're going to put Halcyon in. 211, I can't remember. My memory is fading on that one because it's gone. 309, okay. So anyways, sorry about that. Anyways, that was never going to happen. I realized that. It was like the best thing that ever happened to Force. This bad boy comes in here, we'll let him run the course, make us look real good. And he did, because that is real bad. Next. This is a potential map. I can't see it very good with my thing. The whole Bay of Fundy is potential. And that's how you turn tidal power into firm power. You need to understand power to understand how you take it from one kind of power and make it the most valuable. You need to put more turbines farther down the bay. That's how it works. I'm not an idiot. In 1980-something, when the Rothschild guy said to the Boston States, he says something like, they found out they didn't want the power because it went with the tides, right? But they didn't want to buy it that way. They have to buy power firm. They want it when they want it. They don't want it when you can sell it. So how do you do that? You make it firm. Find a way to make it firm. One way is send them down the bay. Next. This one bugs me the most. This just went up in the paper. MIT and Dalhousie, a whole bunch of other people. Now Nova Scotia, one Nova Scotia. No offense meant. Ray Ivan report. This bugs me. Where are the people? There is no people. Where are the people? Where? Unless you are a person that's making money or wants to make money, you do not fit into this plan. And who runs this? You should go to that article. There's a class lesson here. Go to that article and go down to the end of that article and look at who runs this. And you'll find some pretty good names in it. It's amazing. That bugs me. Right to the heart. That's got nothing to do with life. Where's the life? Next. If you want to create an environment, their environment is, don't go back one slide. Hold on, it's right there, that little thing. They're calling that an environment. It's an ecosystem. Look, what you need is an ecosystem with 5 key players. No, what you need is an ecosystem with life. And then if you can live with it, coexist. This is an ecosystem. Look at the words. Ecosystem, environment, that's their idea. Next. Access and influence. That is important. If you don't have access, you don't have influence. If you can't get a proper story in CBC, CTV, which we cannot get, we can't get into the government, we can't get to Acadia, if we can't get in Fern, if we can't get a fisherman that does fin fish on the EMAC, we don't have any access or influence. None. Next. Who is a benefactor? Historically, academia, through studies, grants, money. And then you have Emera as a benefactor, or Nova Scotia Power for Annapolis Tidal. The community's not. You go talk to them. They're not too happy. Next. Sorry, Andrew. It's all good, though. Right? Pose the question to government. This is a question I already brought up. We were so pleased when this man stood up. We never even seen it coming. It's like, oh my God, somebody actually said that. I'm getting calls. He said that. It's like, ching. I got to check that out. But he was very true. Please tell the people what you're doing. What do you got to lie to them all? Don't mislead them. Just tell them. See if they accept it, which is the fun part that's coming. Next. Does anybody know the story of the frog monster? Anybody know the Mi'kmaq story of the frog monster? The frog monster was from the Penobscot, Passamaquoddy Bay. Right? That would be a good assignment for everybody. The frog monster had a battle. Glooscap, they drained all the water, all the life. He sucked up all the life in the water and he kept it to himself. Right here, tidal power began here. I mean, no offense. And tidal power will end here. And it will end with the Mi'kmaq, in my opinion. Right? Frog monster story. Right there. He was so greedy, he sucked up the water and the life. The people went to Glooscap. Glooscap went. Glooscap had a big battle with him. Shorten this up because it's a long story. Glooscap won. Wrinkled his skin. Made him wrinkly. And then his people had water again. That's way too short, that story. You need to go back and you need to really look at that story because there's a lot more to it than that. but it's a beautiful story. And it talks about the greed here. Beautiful story. Conflict, though. I called it conflict because that's what we have now. We have court cases. We have fishermen getting mad. I get fishermen getting mad now calling the phone that I didn't even know cared. Right? I mean, conflict. Why? Won't you let us in? Why won't you slow down? Why won't you work together? That's coexistence. This is not coexistence. Next. Oh. So, what they're doing, end of the month, we're going to be ecologically responsible. We're calling the panda bear in. Right? He's coming to the city, and we're going to do ocean planning. Because now that we got a bite of this thing, and this technology is working, we're on a train. And they're coming in to do ocean planning for your ocean. Shouldn't you be there? Chief Darren Porter thinks she should be there. So does Chief Jerry. First Nations Mi'kmaq says no. You want to read what they say? 2 quotes. Official release. This one and that one. You can just read the highlighted stuff.
This project will impact our ability to fish in an area that has been used for generations, said Chief Darren Porter of the Bear River First Nation. We need to have a voice in the decision-making process for this project.
You can just go to his one.
Go to.
Yeah, we'll skip that because we don't have enough time. We'll do this one.
Okay.
The quote from Chief Jerry.
We understand why people are so against this project. We are too, said Chief Gerald E. Toney, Annapolis Valley First Nation. We will continue to push for answers and to see that the Mi'kmaq concerns are heard and taken seriously. The province is looking at the potential for approximately 2,500 megawatts of tidal power from the Bay of Fundy into the Minas Basin for marine renewable energy development. This province has identified the Minas Basin, Digby Gut, Petit Passage and Grand Passage, and Briar Islands as area for using in-stream tidal technology.
There. So there, we know. Now, unless that's changed, and that could have changed, maybe they have something happened since, I don't know. But I do know there's another band or two that aren't part of that necessarily didn't change neither. So from my knowledge, which may be wrong, unless something's happened, all 13 chiefs have said they have concerns. And I may be wrong, but from my latest intel that I'm allowed to use, press definition. Next. Academic knowledge. Very important. We need to have a record. Extremely important knowledge, right? But it's different knowledge. Next. Traditional knowledge. Mi'kmaq knowledge. Very important knowledge. Will the paper on sturgeon be around in 3,500 years? I doubt it. Right? But the beaver dam story is still around. They're still both equally important, and they must be treated as such. Next. Local knowledge. That's what I have. Well, I consider myself to have. Local knowledge. I know the Southern Blight. That is my favorite place in the world. I love the Southern Blight in Minas Basin. Learn the Minas Passage, but the Southern Blight is my true love. And the Bay of Fundy, all the waters, but that's the area I really put my time into. But anyways, very important to have that one in with traditional two-eyed seeing, right? You learn ours, we learn yours, right? Next. Wisdom is the combination of all. If you do not put them all in the pot, I don't think you get wisdom, right? Understanding incorporates tolerance, right? Knowledge, experience, deep understanding. You need them all. If you don't have them all, you do not have wisdom. And this situation does not have wisdom. Next. That's my little drawing, or not mine, but it's my concept. That's my contribution here, is I believe in that. I believe you need them all. Not just my knowledge or what I think. I need to have what academia thinks. I need to have what Mi'kmaq thinks. I need to have what the people think. Next. Social license, my favorite subject this year. I didn't really understand it until this year. And this year taught me a lot about social license. A lot. Next. Oh, I'll just explain that picture. I picked this picture for a reason. This is my pond where we release our fish that we don't want to keep. We work really hard making it better all the time. There's Glooscap's campsite, sun and moon. This is taken from my weir. This is what I look at every day. So that's why I get so passionate. Is it spiritual to me? See, they don't do this for money. Today is the first time I took money. My employees got 3 gas cards. All the studies that's ever been done with me that I wanted money for, right? I took it today to do this because I said, I'm going to hang it on the wall. Finally, we're in the house of tidal. Now, this is the first step of the house of tidal for the fishermen. I want to frame that, right? I don't want to spend it. It's symbolic. Very important. Next. Social license. People don't understand. There's a man in this room that understands it very well. Very nice man sitting right there. Transparent. It's intangible, which means it's not actually a piece of paper. It's something that you've got to have, but it's not written on paper. Transparency. Do we have that? Nope. I mean, if anybody wants to argue that, I can show them a whole bunch of non-transparency. Trust, credibility. We've definitely crossed that one off. Coexisting. Not so sure. Reciprocity or mutual benefit. What's the benefit to the fisherman? I heard a couple things said over the years. We might get a haul or something out of this in some place, but other than that, what's our benefit? What's yours? Approval of the people. Well, I got 30, 40,000 signatures that can show you that we don't approve of what's happening. Economical legitimacy. Well, we're going to pay 8 to 10 times more power for something we weren't supposed to? I don't know. You guys choose. Social, political legitimacy. Supporting the quality of life and well-being of the communities affected by the development. I don't even want to talk about that. Community. Granted by the community and stakeholders based on perspectives of the community and stakeholders. It must be earned and maintained. It was earned, I think. I honestly think this project had social license. I worked with it, right? I was okay with a little bit of it when it was small and they were testing it. They had rules. I don't think it has it now, although they claim it does. Stakeholder and community engagement. Well, all depends on what your definition of that is. Acceptance. Again. Next. So what happened is this project got a whole bunch of red lights this year. A whole bunch of people stepped up. NGOs, groups. Everybody said, well, there's something wrong with your monitoring plan. We don't like it. It's not quite good enough. What's going on here? That's what happened this year. Next. We lost the license, actually. It was admitted by many people that are in the social license at one point. Then we have how we see force. No anchor. No go. Hours now. Next. We'll skip that. It's just a little bit deep. Next, public opinion. Cape Sharp project is a demonstration project to determine if tidal energy can be generated in clean, safe, affordable way in the Bay of Fundy. Do you believe that a small tidal test project is reasonable to determine this? Possible to generate clean and renewable energy. That sounds pretty good to me. I would have said yes to this. That sounds good, though. I mean, actually, this is what sounds pretty good. Cape Sharp Tidal Project is a demonstration project to determine if tidal energy can be generated in a clean, safe, affordable way in the Bay of Fundy. Do you believe that a small tidal test project is reasonable, a reasonable way to determine if it is possible to generate clean, holy smokes, that's a long one, clean and renewable energy while protecting the environment? That sounds pretty darn good, doesn't it? Does anybody have any problems with that? I don't know. I don't have a problem with that statement. Next. Social license. Right? Do you know that statement? Do you know where that came from? Does anybody know where that statement came from? Do you know? Where'd it come from? Corporate research. They collected a social license from 500 people, double dipping in the Bay of Fundy. When 40 to 50,000 said no, loudly, we could have been louder, they did a survey through corporate research. 500 people, and there was 50 people that said no to that. I couldn't even believe that. I wouldn't have said no to that. I was, yeah, man, that's what I've been asking for. They said no. But there was 450 that said yes. And it's questions like that that they manufactured their social license with. And it was a manufactured social license. It's corruption. And that is my message today. That's manufactured. That is not a truthful question. It's a beautiful question. Do they have social license? No. In my opinion, they do not. How can 12,000 Mi'kmaq be stamped out, go back? With that question. Tell me. That's wrong. Unceded, truth and reconciliation. Unceded territory. It's not ours to do this shit with. Sorry. The end.